Hi there. So honored to be here. I make a video game. It's called Broforce. It's not a very serious game. It's in fact, you may be able to tell, it's a very, very silly game. I can't take credit for this logo. This is the work of Jared Lunt. He's the lead artist at our studio. I was in fact against the beefy arms. I said it's already a chrome eagle, and he's got like American flags for wings, and maybe, you know, some chrome biceps. Maybe that's too much. He turned to me and he said what I assume all of you are thinking: Evan, you're an idiot. So we went with the logo, and despite my shortcomings, I'd like to talk about 3 things that surprised me during the development of this game that I think are worth sharing. But to do that, I need to start at the beginning. Broforce is this game that didn't start as this fully fledged idea. It didn't start with a design document or mission statement. It didn't start with a purpose or even a demographic in mind. It started with a joke. It was, what if Rambo and Mr. T and Chuck Norris and Arnold Schwarzenegger all teamed up and fought terror in a jungle together? Wouldn't that be great? And so we made this thing in a weekend. It was this rudimentary prototype of this idea, and we put it out to the world. People played it, and they said, you know, it's rough and all of that, but there's some potential here. You should work on this more. So we did, and we worked on it a little bit more. And then people said, you know, this is still showing promise. So eventually we got to this point where, like, we want to do this full time. We want to make this game. So of course, the first thing we did was contact our lawyer, which isn't actually the first thing you do when you start a video game. But in our case, we had these characters in it. You can see here, it's tiny pixelated versions of these action heroes that are famous and have film franchises and lawyers attached to them. And we thought, are we going to get sued? And this is a character called Rambo, or Rambro. It's got bro in the name to highlight the hypermasculinity as well as avoid copyright infringement. And you get characters like Indiana Brones and the Brominator and Robocop and a whole lot more. There's 24 of them in the game at the moment. And so I spoke to a friend of ours, Nicholas Hall, who's a lawyer by day, and by night is the chairman of Make Games, which is the Game Developers Association of South Africa. Said, Nick, are we going to get sued? And he said, Evan, yes, you're definitely going to get sued. But that's all right, because the legal system in South Africa is backed up by 5 years, and you're probably covered by parody. So, awesome, let's do this. So we've been working on the game for about 2 years now. The team's grown. It's been this awesome experience. It's taken us overseas. And if those images are confusing you, the one on the right is the current state of the game. The one on the left looks really ugly. Sorry, Jared, but that's how the game started. It did look ugly. But to really explain this game, I think I need to show it to you in motion. Hopefully, this video works. It's a bit loud and explodey, but if you're not into that kind of thing, at least it's only 30 seconds long.
Broforce! Oh, hell yeah! Freedom! Tactical swine! Coconuts! Broforce!
So it's this action game. People are running through the jungle and they're shooting, and they're flexing their muscles and looking all manly, and they're saving prisoners of war, and they're fighting terrorists. And it's, imagine that, and it's awesome. So a big, and the thing is, we've been in development for over 2 years now, and over 2 million people have played different versions of this game. And some of them have spent over 100 hours playing it. And that's absolutely awesome. This is really satisfying to know that people are willing to spend so much time in something you've made. But at the same time, this feels like something of a responsibility. People are spending a significant part of their life playing something that you've created. And it's very explodey, and there's this gunfire, and there's shooting bad guys. And there's this broader debate about games, and how does violence in games affect people? And I don't know if there's any good answers to that yet, but it certainly triggers in my mind a concern that I don't want to be making a game that is in any way harmful, or at least not too harmful, to the people that play it. So a big moment for Broforce was when it first went to an exhibition, to a festival. This was a MAZE in Johannesburg in 2012. By the way, there's another MAZE festival in a couple of weeks' time, and it's awesome. You guys should all go there. And it was in front of people we didn't know. We couldn't prep them. We're just giving them a controller and saying, try this. And they did, and they enjoyed it. And I think they enjoyed it so much because there was cooperation in the game. They were able to play together. The game might have been fun by themselves, but when they were playing together, they were enjoying it so much more. And something that I felt I was seeing was that these people not only were enjoying the game more, but they were enjoying playing with each other and being with each other more as a result of playing the game. There was this kid at Rage Expo recently, who was playing, and he's this adorable kid, which you can kind of see there, and he's playing this game, and there's this older dude just off the photo, but you have to take my word for it, he's wearing this like metal t-shirt, and he's a lot older, and they don't know each other, but they're playing together, and they're still having this good time. And I wanted to know, is the game that I'm working on, is this something that this cooperation is making something that's more than just having a good time? And there's a surprising amount of science on this. There's this particular piece of research done on a Norwegian military unit. They wanted to find out what were the factors, if any, that cause better cohesion within the unit. And what they found was that familiarity between the members of the military unit, as well as being given challenges that they could accomplish, and the accomplishment was framed in a positive light, allowed the unit to feel far more cohesive. And this to me, this last part sounds to me exactly like a video game. It's people who are given challenges, and this is what we get in games, and then it's framed in this like positive way. And at the end of a Broforce level, you get on a helicopter, everything explodes, there's even fireworks, and there's like a sweet power metal tune playing. It's ridiculous, but it's awesome, and people are feeling this, and they're achieving this together. And this is for me, validating that, well, it's confirming that the people are actually building friendship while playing. And the other thing being that Broforce has all of these kind of action movie references, and for people that do know the references, they can talk to each other, and this is kind of a shared culture that they can relate to each other, they can learn a bit more about each other and become a bit more familiar as a result. Something we noticed at exhibitions as well was people would high-five each other. The end of levels, there would sometimes be this high-five, and this looks absolutely awesome. There's a bit of story to this as well, because one of the early reviews, this guy, Tom from Pixels or Death, he suggested to us that we needed a high-five button. Despite this game being fun, desperately needed this high-five button, and we're like, that is genius. We absolutely have to put this in. A week later, we had it. You could high-five in the game if you faced each other, and you kind of pressed the button, and the two characters would kind of, little pixel hands would move, and you'd high-five, and time would slow down. It was like not quite how it works in real life, but time would slow down, and you'd be able to play a bit more precisely and overcome any significant challenge that you were being faced with your partner. And this was a lot of fun. And the game went to MineCon, which is in Florida, the Minecraft convention. There are these kids playing, and I'm still not sure how I feel about young kids playing our game, but one of their fathers was there, and he would join in every now and then and kind of kick ass if they were struggling. And because they're a lot younger, they haven't played a lot of this kind of video game, so they were finding it quite difficult. And then they'd be yelling, like, high-five me, high-five me. They'd high-five in the game, and they'd jump and leap, sometimes to their doom, but sometimes to victory, and that would be awesome to watch. And at the end, when they were eventually saying goodbye, and it was kind of eventually because they really didn't want to put down that game, they high-fived each other, and they high-fived me. And this was really awesome, and it seemed like they were enjoying this game, and it seemed like the people who high-fived each other were enjoying the game more when they did so. And there's a bit of research on that as well, in that, well, there's a lot of research on it, in that gestures of affection can release oxytocin in the brain. And this is a chemical that allows us to feel more trusting. So it can even fleeting forms of touch can have a powerful impact on our emotional and social functioning. So these people who are high-fiving, they're feeling a bit more trusting towards each other. They can cooperate a bit better. And this feeds into them maybe forming a better friendship as a result. Got this message from a father who was playing Broforce with his 7-year-old son. He said they had a great day completing the first demo section of the game together online. In fact, we have incorporated the Broforce high five with slow motion every morning before I ship him off to school. And this is so cool. This kid's like 7 years old. He's going off to school. It's this unfamiliar place, daunting. He's leaving his cool father who plays Broforce with him, so he's rad. And they're high-fiving, but he feels a bit more trusting, and now he's going off to school with that boost. Also, he's got the power of slow motion, so that might help him as well. Something about the game is that it's funny. And it was surprising to see when people played it, just how funny it was. People would be laughing. And the game's got kind of these serious themes of America and like the war on terror, which is a thing America kind of tried to do in their political circles for a while. And these action heroes movies like in a collision course with that, and one man against the world saving the day, and all of this stuff kind of played up to absurdity in the game. So it's a good thing the game was funny, because it would have fallen completely flat otherwise. We got reviews in, and the people were saying, even when they weren't necessarily playing with anyone else, they're saying, like, Broforce had me laughing from start to finish, or the game's tongue-in-cheek humor and reverence for every action flick hyperbole made it difficult to play the game without smiling, if not laughing out loud. And this is awesome. This is what we wanted to achieve. I love laughing, and I love it when people laugh as a result of me. Not so much at me, but as a... And so this was really awesome, but I didn't really understand laughter at all. And some people do. And laughter, turns out, has this really powerful and complicated effect on the brain. In particular, laughter has a role in stress hormone reduction. It reduces the release of cortisol. So people literally feel less stressed if they're laughing. It improves the mood and enhances creativity as dopamine rushes to the brain when you're laughing because of humor. And this allows you to concentrate a bit better and think more creatively. It also helps with pain reduction because it releases endorphins and improves immunity against disease through stimulating the immune system and reduces blood pressure as well. So it's kind of ridiculous, all this stuff that laughter does, perhaps in small amounts, but a lot of people play games when they come home from work and they've been stressed and they want something that relaxes them. And it's fantastic to learn that Broforce can fill that role for them. This is something that we could do. It wasn't just eating up their time, but they could actually feel less stressed as a result. And this is a message, a really touching message we got from this guy who said he'd been playing games for 25 years, and he had a friend who suffered from depression, and that friend was having a low week. And then he says, playing this game with him produced the biggest smile I've seen all week. We are trapped in this crazy gameplay for hours. And we wanted to make a silly game, and it's this kind of accident that we made it. We stumbled upon this joke that was too good not to tell. And the fact that we could touch someone's life who's maybe a bit down and maybe make them feel a bit better, that's much more than we ever expected to achieve. So we're still working on the game. It's not done yet. We have a long way to go. It's far from perfect. It may never be perfect. We haven't been sued yet, which is awesome. We did, in fact, get an email from Lionsgate recently, Lionsgate being the film company behind the Expendables franchise. And we're thinking to ourselves, Expendables, this is a blockbuster movie. In these films, you've got like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis, and they're all kind of reprising their roles from these classic action movies, and now their lawyers have heard of us, and it's over, or at least we're going to be 5 years in court. And that wasn't the case. It turned out some of the people at Lionsgate had played the game, and they enjoyed it. And this was awesome news. And furthermore, they wanted us to work on a tie-in to their movie, to Expendables 3, which recently came out. And we did this, and we kind of made the game already, which was fortunate, because we didn't have long to do it in. And this was this opportunity for us to work with some of the action stars that had given us so much joy and had inspired us to make the game in the first place. And that was easily the high point of my career so far. It was absolutely awesome. And I think this comes, at least in part, from Lionsgate seeing that we had a game that had some value, it had some merit, that they were happy to associate themselves with it. I just want to close with just a thought that I worry about how we affect people's lives, people spending time in this game. But I know that there's cooperation in the game, and that can help people build better friendships with each other, or with strangers. And that playing the game can encourage people to trust each other more. They could high-five each other, which is this healthy thing to do, and I encourage everyone to try it at some point. And it's humorous. It's worth playing to relieve stress, assuming you find it funny. And this is just this game we accidentally made. There's so many games out there that have all these awesome properties and have so many benefits for people's lives, and it's this nascent medium that we're only just discovering now, some of the things it can do. And what I really want to say is that there's this discussion around games, and it's very focused on the things that we don't want to see in games. And I think it's important, of course, to make sure that we don't have the bad things in the games, but what the discussion is missing maybe is the things that we do want to see in games. And that's the thought I want to leave you with today. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.